Hi, I'm David Boreanaz, and I'm the star of Angel, along with...
I'm Christian Kane. I play Lindsay.
And I'm Brent Fletcher. I wrote this episode.
You can see here is the opening sequence. We shot this on actually a second unit day, and we shot this all at high speed and slowed it down in post. And the idea was kind of to create a symbolic mode between Spike and Angel, and I kind of wanted to have a nice slow camera movement in the beginning. And what we'll see is that this is pretty much a dream sequence that kind of leads into the beginning of the show and what the show really is all about, which kind of Brent worked on.
Yeah, this is supposed to sort of sync up with what happened. I believe it was the end of 8, and it's just sort of, at this point you don't know it's a dream. It's just sort of a different take on what had happened at the end of that. And then at the end when he wakes up, it's supposed to be a big surprise.
Yeah, I think we may have shot this 4 times. It was a tough dolly move going around, and it came out actually the way I kind of wanted it. And this is actually a nice moment here with the chalice and the light, and shooting it down real slow and watching the chalice come down. I think that it's pretty introspective in what's going on in Angel's mind, and that was a real pain getting that. Then Angel burns, as he usually does.
Oh. At least once an episode.
And he wakes up. And match cut. And I think we shot this real far out. I think it did 2 different angles on it. And we opened up in our strip club.
This was fun.
Yes.
This actually they actually cut that longer take out. I actually started on the stripper and had a nice real steady cam move over into Spike. And because the episode was 10 minutes over, they had to cut some things out. And here we see Christian.
I think the best way to acclimate yourself to the crew is have a scene in a strip club.
Yeah, keeps morale up.
Yeah.
This dance in the back was a professional dancer, and I think we had 2 other ones, and they all did a great job. And again, we shot this after that long steady cam move, and we just came in and we did basically coverage on this, and we tried to use as much production value as we can for the space we had allotted.
We really should talk.
And Christian was really great in this scene.
Yeah.
He really brought a lot of good fury and passion to it. Both of them did. It was a long night, but I got what I wanted.
This was the first time you saw me too. After the revealing of the just a little shot in the one, I think 2 previous before this, and so this is the first time you see him back.
Yeah.
In season 5.
And I think originally we were calling him Sean. I think that's what it was in the script, and then we started Doyle. I think we did that after we'd shot it.
Here are our fantastic titles, which is very uniquely put together, season 1. But yeah, this is actually the first time directing this for me, and everybody on the crew was fantastic. They really helped me out a lot, and along with Brent too, his first writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
and
kind of
ironic. I'd been at the set like twice. Everybody was great.
You're an old pro though, man. Like it looked like you had directed for ever, man. When I walked on the set, it was like, yeah. I was like, oh shit.
But yeah, that scene that we had was I remember you saying, I'm ready for you, man. Go back on my lines. Here we go. You're fantastic in it. And then here this shot. I always loved this end shot here. Let me start back up in.
What I was going to say earlier is in this, you're right, they started calling me Sean, scripted and in the scene. And, of course, a lot of these, I don't know, a couple of these extras I think were really big Angel fans, and so they leaked it out all over the internet that I was back, but I wasn't me, I was Sean. And so it was like Sean this and Sean that, and he's Sean now. And Josh is brilliant for doing that because nobody knew I was going to be Doyle. If they would have said Doyle, it would have been over.
Yeah.
You know? And so he was really smart about doing that. He tricked most of America.
Oh, I just remember this glass going in and out. We did it a few times. But what's great about working with actors that are so passionate about what they do is that you can really get a raw power out of them. In this scene, I really wanted to capture the rawness of these 2 characters, and James and Christian really brought that to the table. You know, I let them do their thing. They know what they're doing, basically, and as long as their energy's up and they're real internal with their passion, and it really shows at the end here. I think if I can get under their veins and really pump what I want to get out of them, I think that I've achieved something as far as the story is concerned, and they've definitely did their job on this scene. which got cut up a little bit.
This was like 10 minutes over, wasn't it?
It was 10 minutes, so we had a lot of cutting we had to do, unfortunately. And it was a long, nice, steady move there. And here's Mercedes. She was great. And, you know, again, I wanted to kind of try and keep the camera moving as best as I possibly can in this show. Because I wanted to get inside of Angel's head, because it really was, we didn't know whether he was dreaming or if it was real. So if I could keep the perspective of looking at Angel and like this shot here high and going back into him, and you know, it's more of his perspective, what's going on. We don't know what's real, what's not real. Did that make any sense? So then we're going to creep into him, and you can see the tight shots I use in order to create that tension.
I never noticed that you. I just now noticed that when you said that you kept the camera moving. It keeps a lot of energy in the scene when you're sitting down. Plus, again, you know, this is what I talked about this last in another episode. You nobody knows you had knee surgery, man. You were out of commission for a little bit, man. So it's, you know.
Which is actually why this episode is what it is, because we couldn't have him up walking around. So we had to build a story around David not being able to move that much. You know, I mean, if you pay close attention, you'll see there's very little, you know, shots of him walking far, or obviously no shots of him doing stunts or action or anything.
That's right, I forgot about that. I mean, we can see he's having somewhat of a breakdown, and we don't know how that breakdown's occurring, but we'll find out later on as the episode progresses.
I was in New York, and Josh said, "Hey, Chris, you want to come back to Angel?" I said, "Absolutely, man. Work with Big D again in this scene right here." It's like I said, listen, I'm not getting beat up by any more chicks, man. It's just not happening. He goes, "No, you're not going to get beat up anymore. It's going to be a new Lindsay." And of course, the first scene I'm back, what happens? I'm slammed up against the wall, and somebody's whooping my ass again. I was like, "Josh, come on, man."
This is some
but
tight
it all
quarters.
Works out. He goes, "It'll work out."
I think I had him slam Christian more than once.
My mom was on set too, sitting next to you.
You know, I think that there's a physicality that I like to see these guys get into, and getting in their faces with some tight lenses, and you know, that really shows and comes out. And this monologue Christian does is great.
Yeah, this was fun to work with James, man. This is the first time we'd actually worked together. And we worked together a lot on your episode, you know, and well directed. Like I said, you look like an old pro at it. And it was kind of cool because I think you just kind of we lived with these characters for so long. You kind of just like said, "Hey, here's the direction I want to go." And you kind of opened it up to us a little bit. And it was a lot of fun working with professionals like that, especially, you know, doing this scene with James, because I'd never worked with him before. And it turned out really well.
Yeah, the whole episode turned out great. You know, having a first-time director, and I'd never met David before, but he did such an awesome job. It just made all the stuff I'd done look 1,000 times better than it was on the page.
You know, you sit down with tone meetings, and you know, of course, I sat down with Jeff, and you know, there's a certain tone of what you have to get, what you can not do. So you're under a prescription, and certain things I had to do. Here, this girl was great, and again, entrances and transitions. Yeah,
Yep.
You know, again, entrances and transitions were very important for me in this episode, and I think that they kind of set a tone for the type of episode that this is. Again, there's a lot of handheld stuff, and this is a tricky sequence here with the breaking of the board and slamming him, dusting him there at a certain angle. You learn a lot when you're actually doing it, and again, you know, the crew was just fantastic.
This is funny right here. Well written, man, and he did such a good job.
He was great with this.
What kind of retard wears heels like that in a dark alley? Take 2 steps, break your bloody ankle.
James is really good with that kind of that delivery.
The humor.
Yeah.
I remember getting notes on the scene on the first pass, and it was, you know, I don't know if we want him to be that antagonistic to this girl. And by the end, he was calling her a retard and just totally riding her.
Again, I put Christian up on the stairs here, and we had to actually build the stairs coming down to a certain angle on this location, because I wanted to do a shot that when I reversed on that like that, and I saw Christian and revealed him, I wanted him to be heroic and up on the stage, because this is the first time that we're basically seeing him convincing James of some other worldly events that may occur, or put him in his world of trickery. And I wanted to show Christian in that power position because, got to show those guns.
But it's funny how you lift someone up just a little bit higher than someone else, and it puts them in a position of power in television and film, and it's just like, and people, unless you live with it, you don't really realize it.
Yeah, Kelly Manners, the producer on these shows, really allowed me the opportunity to do some things that I guess a first-time director would normally be allowed to do, and I was fortunate to get some cranes and stretch my 5 seasons of work on this to do certain things. He was great on it.
And here's Angel miserable once again. Things seem to be piling up, getting worse.
Back in the chair.
Yeah, back in the chair behind the office. There's the cat. Again, I wanted to kind of, I really wanted to shoot their faces and the talk. And we go back and him, we're getting pretty much into his head. So we did a lot of dollies in. And
David did a great job on this scene because you really see how miserable Angel is. And it's the scene, what they're talking about, doesn't really matter. I mean, I think it's about warlocks that are fighting, and it's something we're never going to see. And so it's more about Angel reaction shots. And, as you watch him creep in here, he really gets it. I think this turned out really well.
But I love the limited movement you had in real life with the knee, but you kept the camera moving, which had movement, and it's a great shot, man. You did a good job on that.
We got the power to do that, right?
Yes, but Angel.
Why don't we?
again, here's me getting up my bed.
We have to tread light here, Angel. We can't.
And he starts to lose a little bit here, and we don't know what's really going on.
Tired.
It was hard. I mean, acting and directing at the same time. You really you learn a lot, and it was very challenging. I tell you, it's hard.
I imagine it would be just being in a scene and not being at the monitor.
Yeah.
As a director, you're out there and
We had those little monitors that Adam would give me, and be looking at them after I'd scoot out of a scene and watch the end of a scene and see how it progresses. Again, the cast was fantastic, and they gave me everything. At every show, there's me limping. That's really limping.
But it works for the scene because you're.
And we push in on Alexis here, which is important transition again, because we go upstairs to his apartment where we think is a reality. Again, we kept questioning ourselves, can we shoot this? Well, it is just a dream. Again, Rich Sickler, who was the AD on this, was another guy who just really helped me out. And we had a lot of fun together. The two of us got along great.
I love the fact that your apartment's on top of Wolfram and Hart, so you work there in the day and you go home at night, and it's almost a prison. Wolfram and Hart almost is a prison for you without realizing it.
This is a shot we shot a second. I missed this close-up because we ran out of time. Realized at the end of the day I needed it. And here we go. We don't know if it's a dream and a reality, and Angel's a bit freaked right now.
Face, I know.
All the Alexis was great. They, going into this episode, he wanted them all to play it as real as possible, so that you could, when it's cut together, we don't know. There we go. We're back in reality, and that was a dream. And we start back up on this shot, which was this was a fun sequence to do. It's a long night here.
This is slow motion. This is a leg sweep, isn't it?
Yeah, this is a fun shot. We set this up originally, and it wasn't the quite angle that I wanted, and then I kind of creeped down lower on it and got what I wanted, and Ross gave me exactly what I wanted right here. This is sweet.
James loved that shit. He went back to the trailer. He was like, Dave's letting me go slow motion. I love it.
And that's the kind of a sequence we did in the first episode of season 1 that we wanted to show Spike, I guess, doing it, Brent.
It was definitely meant that now Spike is sort of becoming Angel, and so it's almost season 1 Angel with Spike in his place.
These two were good. Yeah, this kid, I think, was from Philadelphia here.
Yeah.
He was funny. He knew my dad.
And that scene got cut up a little bit, too, because there was a funny bit where Spike then wanted to go hang out with him later, and it got shot, but just didn't make the final cut.
Is my walk up still on that? Don't I walk up to him after that?
I think
That
that
got
got cut
cut, too.
out.
God dang,
Yeah.
man.
That was a funny scene. And we shot that all late, and we were behind, and we had some really nice, funny moments there.
There was. I walked up and said something. That's all gone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah.
director's cut.
Right.
And, you know, I guess, Brent, you can explain this.
Well, here's Sarah. She's basically trying to divert Wesley's attention. You know, they want to keep everybody as far away from Angel as possible, so it's give them a bunch of busy work. Here it is. And so Alexis falls for it. And of course, busy work always seems to involve runes and strange symbols when it comes to Wesley.
Sarah was great. She played this role really, really well.
Yeah. She brought a lot of really good energy
Yeah.
to this.
You can tell there's something going on behind the face, and that's exactly what I think the character, needed.
You know, when we would block these scenes, which was interesting as it progressed and learning with Ross, is that I found that I could just pick up one shot after the other by just keeping the camera rolling and having either the actors keep moving or the camera keep moving, and that kept my flow going, and I think helped us on days too, and minimize takes. Again, we're gonna go back into Angel's, world of reality or dream sense here. We don't know, but he's
He ain't doing so good. Yeah, this turned out great, actually.
That shot, actually, I was operating the camera. That was my point of view, and I wanted to operate in one of the scenes. And
Was you going handheld?
that was handheld
Was it?
operated.
And you're
yeah.
holding it?
I'm holding that one.
Bad
yeah.
knee.
I was lying down. So this was all handheld by me, my perspective, which I wanted to have a really good point of view. I really love point of views if they're done effectively. And this transition is great.
She's looking straight at camera, huh? Straight
Yeah.
lens. It's nice.
And then we pull back out, and then we're actually, in his dream. This was a hard scene to shoot. They actually carved out the middle of the bed, so I was sitting in a big hole and had this big prosthetic piece for my stomach where she cuts. She starts pulling things out of me. And the first time we did it, we couldn't stop laughing.
That was on the end for the season finale, the rap party that we had. They kept showing all the laughing and stuff. That was great.
Yeah.
The idea is that we're pulling things out of Angel's chest to, I guess, symbolize what, Brent?
Well, I like to say that there's a lot of symbolism involved, but when you're pulling out DVD players and necklaces, I think later on, and didn't you put one in the license plate yours?
Sparky was great in this, prop guy, and we just had a blast. I told him I wanted to put a license plate in there, which was kind of resemblance to Jaws.
Yeah, it's a Jaws callback,
It's a
right?
Jaws callback that Sparky and
That
I
was
kind of
pretty cool.
put in there in the last minute, and it made the cut.
And now that is a callback to Jeff's episode with the Mexican wrestlers.
That's right. It was just hard keeping a straight face here. I was straining here, and I think this may have been the 8th take, and it was late, and we had to get going, and the string of pearls that she puts on. Of course, she's pulling stuff out of me, and there's no blood on the pearls. I mean, there's some liberty we took because we didn't know, because it is a dream, and it's this weird dream that's going on.
Well,
There
people
we go.
that's great.
Came up the Gulf Stream.
What was that?
Came up the
Jalisco,
Gulf Stream
Mexico?
right there,
Is
yeah.
that what that was?
That was a tribute to
Well, a lot of people don't-
Spielberg there. And here's a little fish bowl. This was funny.
A lot of people don't know about Boreanaz is that a lot of times when it's your close-up and it's a funny scene, David has no problem laughing off camera. And it's very tough to do.
Well, I mean, look at the bear,
Bear.
man. How can you keep a straight face with a bear?
I've said in a couple interviews, the first 2 seasons, man, every time that me and you were up against each other, it's like, I'm going to kill you. And you're like, no, I'm going to kill you. If you look at the over, we're dead serious, the person that the camera's on, but the other person, their shoulders are shaking because we were laughing at each other.
This is, again, another transition. A lot of transitions in this. And she goes in, and we're going to get in as close as we can to her eye coming up, as you'll see, which we shot on a second day. This here.
That looks great.
Yeah. That was all second unit. And then we're going to come out of my eye, which originally was shot coming out there, and it came out all wrong, and we had to reshoot that. So can we go back to pretty much the second story going.
Yeah,
there, right.
which is, it's all a distraction story.
Jay had a interesting role this season. I think that he played it great with the being the lawyer, and it was a big challenge for him. I think that he handled it great, and he really pulled it off nicely. His confidence and his authoritative position worked, and
well, I think here now they've got word on the streets about somebody that seems to be filling Angel's shoes,
Read the description.
and this is where they figure out who it is.
this was I think this may have been part of the first day of shooting.
That was the first day.
Was it? Yeah, it was.
First scene with me and him, and it was you, and
That's
everybody
right.
was there.
That's right.
The first scene we shot with you directing. And I walked up to you and I said, "Man, what the hell is my character doing?" You go, "I don't know." No, I think nobody knew at that point. I mean, no, it was very awkward for me because I was like, "Why am I face to face with Spike?" I mean, I'm a mortal guy. I wouldn't be this cocky with him. And they were like, "Well, we're working on something." So at this point, I had no idea that I'd been away training or had powers or anything like that. It was very difficult. I was like, "David, what am I supposed to do here?" And you did a great job of directing the scene for me because I was really lost at the time. Your coat.
And a lot of these props, you can see that in the background there. That was season 1, I think, in my old apartment. Recycled props.
You can go to Wolfram and Hart. This place has everything you need.
You know, the viewer watching this can say, "Oh, I saw that in the first season in his loft, or that lamp." Because well, guess what? They reused it. Again, here's a rack focus to
Well, it's not like you're
a
gonna
bed or a cod, which is a funny bit. Bang. And we go back to Angel's Pain. And we shot this with
That's great.
This is James and a double here that we have. This is supposed to be Buffy.
Keep it down, mate. You've got something on your shirt there.
Every time
It is what it is.
I love how her hair is all in front of her face.
Everybody was eating popcorn that day. And then when you get involved with a lot of special effects and, what the budget curtails, I think I could only shoot that shot there once. So I had one take on that, and I couldn't do any reverse on it because of the effects and the certain cost on it. So
I have to get out there.
I had to keep this angle on me, this size, because that was my only take on it. I guess we'll go down again. We're supposed to see this parasite that we reveal here is sucking on Angel's nipple. Here's the cake.
Yeah, that cake is great.
And then we go up again. Again, this is a dream, so, I wanted to make this as bizarre as possible.
And this is just pouring it all on Angel. Everybody now loves Spike, and Angel can only watch from the background.
Thank you, everyone. I don't know what to say.
And I just told him to just, be over the top with it, and be real with it.
It was nothing, really.
Nothing. Spike, you...
Because our challenge was to, shoot it in a way that you can understand the transitions and keep it, and that dreamscape believable as well as the reality believable. So the actors did their jobs.
That was great.
This is a fairy tale moment here.
The living end. And now, it's time for your reward.
Yes, your reward.
Oh, I didn't do this for a reward.
Well, that's why you're getting one.
This was a long day.
You never see James in that character either as Spike, so that was great to see.
Anyone who saves the universe.
And this girl comes floating in, and,
Really, because it doesn't look like she's on rollers at all.
we had a track that we had to put down. That was
like
Mike Gaspar did a great
like
job on the show. He
the Apocalypse when they get my hand back, like skated in.
Again, fairy dust. It's just optical or special effect. The camera's got to be a certain place. The lights go up, they go down. And
It's beating again.
a lot of things to think about.
You're human, Spike. You're alive.
Again, the fact that Spike has become human and Angel's in the background
Let's hear it for Spike.
really makes him feel bad. And we cut close and see he's just a
Yep.
lonely mailman in a bad tie. It's amazing when you have an injury how you can use certain props to get away with knowing that, you're really not limping. I use this cart to help me walk down a little bit. Really slow. Yeah, I just come off a big knee surgery, ACL, so I was just starting to walk. And again, they cut that, you would really like to have seen Angel really walk that hallway and see that loneliness. But again, with time, you gotta sacrifice.
Did you have that shot though in there?
Yeah.
Should have expected a visit from Big Brother. Central nut.
This again was a day one thing for me. I learned a lot. Just focusing on what these guys can, give me rather than fighting it. I mean, I think as a director, you have to kind of go in and let the actors do their thing and really allow them to create. I think that if you give them that space, then they're going to give back more to you as a director. It's a really give and take relationship, and I think you see the creative process come out on screen through the actors' eyes, and what they do is because of that communication.
So here is Gunn and Wesley trying to get Spike to come back to Wolfram and Hart, and he wants nothing to do with it now. He's sort of on a moral high ground, apparently. Kind of puts them in their place by the end of this scene.
Not at all.
No offense, Mr. Vader, but I've got no itch to join the evil empire.
It's different. You know it.
I think this was the one scene that I could have probably done a little bit differently and a little bit better as far as getting into the characters' heads. And, I think with Jay's perspective, and I don't think they would be that authoritative with him, maybe. I think that'd loosen him up a little bit more. A little too straight line for me. But those are the things you learn, and, as much as you can learn, that's the beauty of what this business is all about. It's a little bit too Tuesday for me. What do they call that guy who comes in and Detective Tuesday? What's that guy?
Friday?
Friday, that's it. Detective Friday.
Detective Tuesday.
I don't know.
Friday.
Yeah, they're a little bit.
It's a big scene though. What was this? Three at least 3 pages. I mean,
a little about 3 pages. I mean, you basically, as our job is to communicate what the writer wants. And either acting, directing, producer, it all comes down to the writer. Yeah. Again, this is a tough shot.
That's a great shot that you did though with the because it looks like I'm standing there.
And then we kind of swiveled the camera, and it was a hard setup, that one. I think we got it as much as we possibly could, and we had to move on. And again, these two were great. They were very playful, and we had to make sure we see the symbols in the background there, because that plays later on in the story.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that when I was shooting, Brent was like, we can make sure we get certain things in the shot or to tell the story as it progresses, even for down the line.
And I guess these symbols we had concocted is the way he was able to stay off Wolfram and Hart's radar, because we set Wolfram and Hart as being this giant evil corporation, and if one guy's back in town that used to work for them, they would know. And so Christian or Lindsay has figured out how to subvert that. And got a girl along the way.
Here comes a big flip. He's getting ready, see? Here
come
the guns. See what I'm
go.
saying here? Here comes the symbol.
Tattoos.
And we realize, oh, well, let's put 2 and 2 together here. Wall, skin. Here it comes.
That was it. I had to brace because
Here it
I didn't
comes.
want to throw her off the bed because her head comes so close to the nightstand too when I flip
Yep.
her.
Keep up the teasing all day.
Boom.
Nice. Love that. Again, we got to get in under him. See that. Get in his eyes. Then we look up. I don't know exactly what he looked at, but we're going to follow her passion, her eyes, and her gaze into something that they've been concocting that's been messing with my head, with Angel's head.
There's a good shot you came up with right here where I look over and just kind of stay there for a second and then... Oh, you cut that part.
I didn't cut it, man.
Cut that part.
You know, time. There's only so much time you have before the advertisers come in and pollute us with messages. Again, these guys are coming in and we're walking, talking, and
Didn't sell out. We're changing the
you know, it's tough when you get into an office situation when, the boring walk, talk, sit behind the desk. And again, I wanted to break it up as much as I could. Some nice push-ins, some keeping the camera moving. Again, it's real important. I mean, you shoot like 6, 8 pages a day, and you have to, by the time the end of the day's around, you got to be pretty quick on your thought process. What you need and what you don't need.
People don't realize that an episode is 8 days. I mean,
She was great in this.
Yeah.
Again, placement of the phone. You got to go over these things and when you're walking the floor. And the lighting, I think Ross did a great job with it. There were some things in areas that we changed as as the episode progresses, you'll see. And this in particular, I wanted it really, really black. And I wanted images to kind of pop out. And when he first lit it, it was a little bit too light. It was way too bright.
what are those blue lights back there?
And that's just kind of something I guess he threw in there. Again, it probably would have been a little bit darker for me if I wanted to redo that. And I wanted it to be really pitch black, and you have just people come out of blackness in that specific scene, in that dream sequence there.
How beautiful these two girls.
Yeah. Again, this set was great. It was great working in this Wolfram and Hart set. They did a great job, and you can really do some great things with the camera here because there's so much space. Unlike the other past 4 seasons where we were pretty cramped in a hotel room in this. And we cut back to the piano playing, and Andy was great in this.
Honky tonk.
Can he play piano?
No,
Good.
but he got some pipes.
Yeah, he does.
Now you're getting it. Everything hurts, and then we...
Great, I just show up at work and just roll out of bed from home. I didn't have to get all beautified up. Keep the hair all messy. I don't know what to do.
Why don't you give me an earful of them purty pipes of yours? Let me suss it out.
Oh,
there you
the
go.
spotlight. He's going to try and sing, and he just can't do anything. I guess the purpose of this, Brent, was pretty much...
And he's just totally incapacitated at this point, and he's totally lost. I mean, we're just trying to... He doesn't know what his next move is. you know, psychologically, but also as we've already found out, he's got this parasite on him that's doing something. You know.
And there's the cat eyes, and that you want to go back to these people again, really messing with his head, and then we don't know what the parasite's doing this to him or what's going on.
And this sort of blends the two, actually, because Eve shows up here, and it turns out she's actually here.
Oh, man, that parasite
there we
was
go.
hard to work with.
There we go.
That was actually a practical one that we used more than the one that was, I think, cost $20,000.
I think it cost $80,000.
Oh, my God. That was an actual one you can squish. They put stuff in it and you squashed it.
Shut your mouth. How much did it cost?
The big one that comes up later, I'm pretty sure it cost $80,000.
And we used that,
my
I think,
God.
maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
We used this more than we did the that's amazing.
I'm not here, Angel.
This was a tough shot to get because we had to, you know, use this $80,000 piece of equipment to come crawling out of this box, which really should have been done in CGI, I guess. Or,
Yeah, this was tough.
This
'cause
was
it's-
hard.
You know, you try and make something menacing, but it,
I mean, look at that. That was hard. And, you know, it was what it was, and when cuts, it would have worked. But, yeah, it would have been better for it to actually be crawling over. The thing didn't bend, so there was no movement.
Yeah.
to
Is
it.
somebody's hand in it, too? Is that what that
It was it was on
Animatronics?
some rods, yeah, animatronics, puppeteers. This again is the real big fat parasite. We didn't use. He tosses it, and we go back to Spike.
we have
here.
Spike drinking a lot in this episode.
He always has beer.
Thought this was a single. Didn't know I was gonna have a bloody roommate.
He's always snatching shit out of my hand.
I know, right? This is a good one. I like that. I remember watching behind a monitor laughing. That was a good take.
I can't get a sip of alcohol one.
Poor Lindsay can't get anything, man. Lost his hand. Got his hand back, and he comes back. He can't even get a beer. This
I had
here.
so much trouble with that, man. I kept asking.
came
I was
out
like,
great.
dude, this looks like shit, and you kept
You know what?
kept reassuring me because it just felt weird, you know.
Yeah. I think with this kind of a thing, I kept telling him less is more, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
and he really got it, and he felt uncomfortable, and I said, well, if you feel uncomfortable, I know that I got it. I think there's a reverse psychology that directors do on actors. I learned.
So much time watching Charisma do it, and also watching our boy Glenn do it. You know, it's just
Yeah.
like I wanted to make sure I hit a little bit of that because they were great at doing that.
Now here's where you got your big crane shot.
Yeah, this is a crane shot that again got cut up a little bit. You know, we see him in a long lens in the field, and he's really looking like shit.
This is one of the few times that Angel can actually be out in the day.
It was a crane. I kept everything on a crane here. And they just moved the camera around. I really just moved the lens around. I figure I'm on it. Might as well just use it.
But it's great because you're in a chair again, man.
Again, I'm in a chair reclining around the middle, and we kept waiting for the clouds to clear. We had problems with the weather. So we had it, as you can tell at certain moments that it's going
They came back in right there.
Yeah. Came back in and out. It's darker. Originally in the beginning. There we go.
There we go.
Big crane out. But in the beginning, we had the crane swooping down on him, which was much nicer, I liked. But here's the thrill.
$80,000 down the drain.
Well, now that was the
that was a
real. That
stunt?
was just the stunt one.
Okay.
That and we ended up using more than the $80,000 one. Splats, and then we figure out that he had this parasite attached to him.
And just to pour salt in the wound, the person that comes and rescues him is Spike,
Yeah.
which is great. The Spike Angel dynamic this year was hilarious. I mean, it just really worked. It was hilarious when it needed to be, and it was serious when it needed to be. I know that episode of you guys in Italy is definitely one of the funniest things we've ever done.
Again, there's another scene with a lot of actors to cover, and one.
Pumps neurotoxin.
Hey, there he is, drinking his blood. He's recovering. This shot coming up at the end, we're done with a split diopter. So all this was kind of prearranged. You know, I wanted the actors to be as free as they possibly can, but for certain shots to get to, I needed for them to be in certain positions. And we'll see that towards the end, the last shot. But again, the cast was very supportive, as was the crew, and I wouldn't have been able to do it, the things I did without them.
There you go.
Yeah. And poor Andy's had to deal with that hours of makeup. Something's coming to him. He's putting things together.
Angel gets his detective work in for the day.
That's so sweet.
You put the big one on me after I killed the other one.
The other one.
The big one. The big one was $80,000 and it didn't work. Changed your clothes. But you didn't change your earrings. Again, the earrings are the one things that tip off the whole thing here. So I got to make sure that I see those earrings, and I got to make sure that that's a big story point. Here come my team. Again, I wanted them all in the background for this shot. Or maybe they did. This shot here. What do you think the partners will do to you after they find out about your little extracurricular activities? And we know something's up with Lindsay. We played this shot a couple times with the door closing and getting the lines out. And we cut back to this shot here, which was the split diopter, which everyone's in focus.
It's great.
So we had to end up on that kind of a shot to kind of create that kind of mode of
Good job, first
clarity.
time directing.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
I'm proud to be working with you.
Thank you, man. And thanks to all the to
people
Ross and,
listed here.
You know, Stuart and everybody here. George did a great job editing it. Rich, first AD, and all that. Congratulations to you too, Brent, for writing it.
It was
man.
great.
Thanks,
I couldn't have,
that was the
I couldn't
first-
have been luckier.
First one that I was back on, man, and I was really, really happy to see that stuff. So thanks for writing such a great comeback, man.
Thanks for delivering. It was Lindsay back was great.
It was a lot of fun, and we hope that you enjoy it.
Arg.